Well, hello. I am about to start something quite momentous for me, and I wanted to commemorate it with a little video. What I'm about to do is begin my very first Heaven and Earth Designs full coverage pattern. The pattern that I chose is Elizabeth. It's Elizabeth the First Queen. And this is a reproduction of a painting which was formerly thought to have been designed by or painted by a fellow named George Gower back around 1580 something. But apparently the historians have decided that he's not the actual painter after all, so we don't know who is the painter. But this is known as the Armada painting, because as you can see in the pictures, there are scenes of boats coming, and in this picture on this side, which is actually on the left, the boats are coming toward England and they're all happy and healthy and doing fine. But then in the other picture, they're all in a big huge storm and they're all crashing on the rocks. And this is a historical thing that really happened. So this was during Elizabeth's reign, of course, and sorry for the glare, but you can't see her face. Oh, that's a little better. So it's a very, very ornate pattern, as you can see. There's going to be an awful lot of what they call confetti stitching, which is when you have lots of different colors all over the place that have no, they're not contiguous with each other, so you're constantly counting over and down and up and whatever to find out where your next stitch should go. This is going to be a very challenging pattern for me. I'm not even sure if I'm up to it, but I'm going to try. And this box here contains all my floss for the project. I've kitted it all up. All the different colors are in there. There's 87 colors, I think, in total, and I've got all but 7 of them. And hopefully I won't need any of them anytime soon. So I'm really excited about this, and I've also bought a copy of a pattern from the same company. It's the classic Henry VIII portrait that everybody's familiar with, where he's standing there very stiff and tall with his legs spread and his codpiece on display and all that fun stuff. And what I'm hoping is if I ever get them both finished, they'll hang side by side on my wall, and I'll be very proud of that. I'm just loving this. And I've been listening to a book called The Six Wives of Henry VIII on my Audible program, and really enjoying it. So once I start getting into stitching this, I am going to start listening to that book while I'm stitching. So interesting thing about this pattern is 525 stitches wide by 418 stitches high. The finished piece, I'm going to be working it on 32 count Laguna even weave fabric, and this is my fabric all ready to go. This is called easy count. As you can see, there's already a grid on there, and the grid corresponds to these are 10 stitch by 10 stitch squares here, and that corresponds to 10 stitch by 10 stitch squares on the pattern. So it should be easy for me to keep myself situated properly so that I don't get lost and start stitching things in the wrong place. I haven't really come to a final decision of how I'm going to approach the stitch logic. A lot of people will fill in one entire square and then they'll go on to the next one, either up beside it or down. I'm thinking about doing what's called cross country, which is where you do all the stitches of one color in wherever they are, probably within the hoop area, so I don't have to be moving the hoop around quite a lot. And then change to another color and do all those stitches, and then the next color, all those stitches. Where a lot of people do what's called parking. And they do like 2 or 3 stitches of one color, and then they park their thread over on the side, like they pull it up through the fabric, and that's where their next stitch of that color will go, because they don't want to go from this square to this square until this one is completely finished. So I tried that last night. I got confused. The stitches or the loose threads were getting in my way. I couldn't figure out where I should be putting them. So I just decided, nope, I'm going to do something that feels more natural to me and try to keep it together. And I'm hoping that this Easy Grid fabric will help me. And what I did was I marked, and it's again backwards for you, I marked the top left corner, so I'll always know that this is my top left corner, and if I pick it up after I haven't worked on it for a while, I'll know how to situate it in my hoop like this. I have lots of excess fabric, as you can see, so I've rolled it all up, and there, you can see lots of extra fabric there. I've rolled it all up and I've got it clipped with silver binder clips, hoping they don't rust or anything, leave marks on my fabric. But if they do, well, the nice thing is that this is a full coverage project, so my stitches will cover up any marks that make on it. So I don't even know if I'm going to need to wash it when it's finished, but I may. I probably do it in the bathtub so I don't have to scrunch it up too much. And so anyway, and what I've also done is purchased, my friend Carol was very kind and gave me, at no charge, an Android tablet. And I've put a program on it called Pattern Keeper, so you can see that. But anyway, it's hard to see, isn't it? Wow, the glare is terrible. Oh. Okay, well, it's on an angle, but now you can see it anyway. So anyway, this program allows me to select a color, like, so what I've got selected right now is color 310, which is black, and it highlights all of the stitches in that color on the pattern. So I could scroll around the whole pattern and see all of my 310 stitches, my black. And if I wanted to, I could do every single black stitch in the whole thing, and not go to the next color until they're all done. But I think I'm gonna do it in like hoop-sized portions. So this hopefully will help me keep. And once I've finished doing a stitch, I mark it off, and it turns a different color, so that I know that I've done that stitch. So that's a really great way for me to keep track of where I am in the pattern. And it also tells me how many stitches I've done each day, and it resets apparently around 4 a.m. And it tells me how many stitches of the entire pattern I've done, so a cumulative total over the days. And this pattern, I'm going to tell you, has 219,450 stitches in total. And I haven't even done the first one yet. But I am about to do it right now. So, grab my fabric and get myself situated here. So there's my top left. I'm going to do this a bit in the dark because I took the pins out that we're marking, so I know that's where I'm starting right there. And I've already threaded my needle. Hopefully I can find it. Here it is. Threaded my little needle. Shit. I don't know if that stopped anything, but anyway. I'm going to do this very, very quickly because I'm about to run out of juice on my battery. And sorry for leaning over here, but that's 1, 2, 3, and and then one more. 4. It's in the 4th stitch down from the top corner. Oops, and it's got to be on the line because that's my first row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, and it's got to go down in from the front. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Bottom left to top right. So here's my very first stitch going in. Sorry, I almost lost you there, didn't I? bottom left to top right. I'm starting with a loop start so that I don't have to run it across any stitches on the back. For anybody that ever sees this that's a stitcher, I'm using, like I think I said, 32 count Laguna, and there's my very first stitch out of 200 and how many? 19 plus thousand stitches that are going to be going into this fabric over time. And this probably is going to take me years. Oh, and I was starting to say what I'm doing for the stitchers that might ever see this. I don't ever plan to post it anywhere, but you never know. I'm 32 count fabric. I'm doing 2 strands of DMC over 1 thread of the fabric, 10 stitch. I decided I don't, well, my first reason for using 10 stitch is that I think it's going to look more traditional, like it's going to look more like a medieval tapestry with 10 stitch than it would with cross stitch, because I don't think they did cross stitch back then. And then the next reason I thought was bonus is that it's going to take up half the thread and half the time. So that's what I'm going to do. And maybe I'll get it done in 4 years instead of 8. You never know. So anyways, that's it. I got to go because I'm going to run out of battery any second now. And thanks. I'll see you soon. I'll check in with you again sometime with some progress. How do I shut this off?